38 matches, 26 wins, 12 draws, no defeats. Arsene Wenger's football dream team remained undefeated as they stormed to the Premier League title, becoming the first team since Preston in 1889 to remain unbeaten for a whole season in one of the world's toughest leagues.
An open-top bus takes the team through the packed city streets. Pitch International presents. The camera slowly pans across hats, scarves, photographs, shirts and other memorabilia from some of the most famous football clubs in the world. Chelsea, Celtic, Barcelona, Liverpool, Arsenal, Manchester United and AC Milan are amongst the many featured. Football's greatest teams, Arsenal.
Arsene Wenger had arrived at Arsenal via Japan, a virtual unknown, greeted by headlines asking, "Arsene who?"
I think that the English football is going up and that the Premier League is one of the most important leagues in the world now. So I think it also that it was a challenge for me to be maybe the first foreign manager, sure the first French manager, to go there and to try to be successful.
When he first came into the club, no one really knew who he was. David Dean was the man who brought him in from Grand Passat, and he sat us down and said, this manager will take the club forward. And it was going a little bit backwards, there's no doubt in that, so we needed a change of philosophy, if you like. And from day one, he was fantastic, Arsene Wenger.
That's what he brought along, Arsene, because some of the philosophy came from Japan and how he's been brought up as well. So he kind of brought all these kind of experiences from where he's been managing to Arsenal, and it was great. And even the centre was a little bit kind of Japanese style. So he brought a whole new kind of mentality to Arsenal, which Arsenal benefited tenfold, really.
The Alsace-born manager impressed almost as soon as he took over in 1996, producing teams that had a distinctive impact on English football. His emphasis on sports science and his brand of possession football won many converts. Wenger's Arsenal became synonymous with flair, pace and power, qualities that carried them to 2 league championships and 3 FA Cups in the first 7 years of his reign. By 2003, Wenger had assembled a squad that was the envy of most of Europe. Dennis Bergkamp, unloved at Inter Milan, had been given license to be creative by Wenger. Midfielder Patrick Vieira had also swapped San Siro for Highbury and flourished. His blending of skill, physical authority and sometimes snarling competitiveness earned him the Arsenal captaincy. Thierry Henry had been played out of position at Juventus. Under Wenger, he became a frightening weapon.
I went to watch him in a playoff game against Udinese for qualifiers for the UEFA Cup, and he played left wing back, yes. And after the game, I came back to Paris with him, and I told him, "Look, I will take you, and you will play striker." And that's why he came here, in fact. But I knew him already from the youth teams, and I think he trusted me because he knew me from Monaco.
He was a big lad, 6'2". He had so much pace. Once he got into his stride, he went out to left-hand side a lot and picked the ball up, and then he'd run the fullback quite often. But once he got in his stride, he was so hard. But on the ball as well, you look at players who might have a bit of pace, but control-wise, they're not the best. But he had everything. He had, on the ball as well. He had skill, trickery. He could go past the player, and he had an eye for goal. We could tell that, straight away.
The 2002-03 season had seen the club overhauled in the league by Manchester United. The FA Cup was some consolation.
Arsene Wenger speaking in 2004.
I reflected over the summer, and I felt last year, I thought we were a little bit complacent when it was going well during the autumn 2002 and winter 2003. And I felt that the disappointment we got will get us the hunger to bounce back, and because I thought the quality was there.
2003, I think we lost out on the league, and I think it was presented to us that, you know, maybe we were second best, and nobody in that group felt they were second best, and I think that was just enough to challenge us to find even more.
You set out to win, and that was a great thing about Arsenal. You set out to win the Premiership. You don't think we're coming second, you set out to win. Everyone is mentally tuned in to win the Premiership, and that is the greatest feeling anyone can have in football. You've got a team, we are going to win.
Another proven winner was German international Jens Lehmann, acquired from Borussia Dortmund to replace David Seaman in goal.
Jens was a very important player because after losing David Seaman, it's also important to get a good goalkeeper come in because they can save you 10, 12 points a season. And lucky enough, Jens Lehmann was available, and Arsene Wenger made a great signing there.
He impressed me from day one. His professionalism and his focus. Great guy, fantastic winner. It's not a problem. Slotted in brilliantly well. You know, we were sorry to see Dave go, but Jens came in, maybe gave us something different with crosses, came and collected things, took the problem away from us.
Arsenal is a fantastic club, one of the biggest of the world, and it's always a challenge to go to such a club, and it's a bit like an honour being asked from such a big club to play for them.
I think he's done a great job. He's kept us in some tough games, and he looks the part, to be fair.
The season started at home against Everton. Goals by Henry and Pires shaped a 2-1 win.
The keeper stops 2 shots, but Pires fires one past him from inside the 6-yard box.
Then at Middlesbrough, Pires turned provider to set up Gilberto. Aston Villa and Manchester City were also overcome as Arsenal took 4 wins from their first 4 games. And while the attackers grabbed the headlines, a new centre-back pairing also gained plaudits.
When you look at the record of Sol Campbell since he has arrived here, it's absolutely tremendous. This guy has won 2 championships and 2 FA Cups, and is here just for 3 years.
It was a dream. It was a dream, you know, because for me, I always wait for a situation like that where you could kind of I control my area, and I've got guys who can control their area, and it's fantastic. It's a dream. I don't want this to end.
Sol knows how to organize the chain, and he gives good commands, and even for me, he's very helpful.
Also was a great signing. I mean, a lot of eyebrows were raised when he signed because I think he shocked a lot of our players as well because, coming across North London, it was a brave decision to make because the big rivals, obviously Spurs, and, he made that decision though. I really thought he might go to Barcelona or somewhere like that, who was chasing him as well. But he said to Arsene Wenger, look, he wants to come to Arsenal, and it was a good decision for him in the end. He won trophies, involved in that unbeaten season, but they were fantastic. Kolo Touré and Sol Campbell at the back.
I always felt Kolo Touré was going to be a top player because he was so tenacious and such a winner. You know, his pace and the way that he grew as an individual. And he's gone on to have an outstanding career. You could see it there. It wasn't rocket science picking him out. It was just finding a position for him, and centre-half became his best position.
You're just in tune. You're in tune. You're working hard. Everybody's at the top of their game. Nobody wants to let down the team. You know, everybody hurts if the team loses, and really hurts. And that kind of puts responsibility on your shoulders.
At fullback were 2 more internationals, Cameroonian Lauren and Ashley Cole, who had graduated stylishly from the youth team.
It's been a dream. It's quite unbelievable when I look at the stars I'm playing with. I never thought I'd get a chance here, but to be alongside them, let alone play with them and see them every day is, as I said, a kid's dream, and I'm really enjoying it.
Ashley Cole, we know how good he is at left back. And I think Lauren was at right back, so Lauren was a real top quality player as well. So it's one of them, we always had to have a good basis of a back 4. If you're going to have any chance of winning anything, you always got to have a decent defence. And, after having Lee Dixon and Tony Adams and Mike Keown and Steve Bold, Nigel Winterburn and David Seaman, it was always going to be hard to get that right defence for Arsene Wenger. But he managed to find the players who you know, just gelled straight away and knew exactly what they had to do.
After a 1-1 draw at Portsmouth, Arsenal faced possibly their toughest match of this or any other season, away to the champions.
We always knew when you went to Old Trafford that you needed to get some sort of result. If you could win there, and very often it meant winning the Premiership. If you could draw, then it was something to build on. If they won it, then often they would gain a momentum.
It was always very important. We always looked at the Manchester United game as pinnacle to if we're going to win the league or not.
Getting a draw there was important. Of course, the game completely kicked off. We lost our captain, involved in a tussle with Van Nistelrooy.
Van Nistelrooy's got a chance to just, you know, win the game, hits the bar, you know, and the famous Martin Keown go and chop on his shoulders and say, have some of that.
Of course, if he scores that penalty, then we wouldn't have gone unbeaten, and the story would never be told.
End of part 1. Part 2.
On 26 September, Newcastle came to Highbury. Thierry Henry scored twice as the team shared 5 goals. The Frenchman was typically cool as he converted the decisive penalty. October brought 2 massive challenges. First came a trip to Anfield, where it was again a Frenchman who dominated the headlines. Robert Pires's goal was worthy of settling any game. Then there was a visit from London rivals Chelsea. Buoyed by Roman Abramovich's millions, they matched the Gunners. Until luck helped Arsene Wenger's team.
They really expected to beat us at Highbury, and they really fancied themselves on the day, and hopefully we brought them down a little bit.
Pundits and players alike began to realise Wenger had created something special.
How he put that team together was amazing.
He inherited some of the players, obviously getting there, but the ones he brought in, he kind of knew them, and that helps to have an inside track and with the mentality and obviously, you know, you got the skill, you got the kind of playing ability, but I think he does look on the mentality side, and so that was a big thing for him.
Vieira coming in almost off the street at the beginning, you know, a great lad to work with, had to have the ball. If you didn't give him the ball, you got a rollicking, so everything went through him, and then he'd give it to Dennis, and Dennis would then give it to Henry, and the ball was in the back of the net. It really was that kind of simple, and the rest of us were the sort of framework in and around that, supplying these guys, giving the ball to our best players, and boy did we have some players.
A shot comes off the post to Henry, who rifles it in.
With Leeds hit for 4, Spurs were up next, and again Arsenal battled from behind and eclipsed their greatest rivals.
Tottenham's keeper deflects Henry's shot. Pires collects the loose ball and puts it in the back of the net.
Arsenal's attacking force combined flair from the flanks, a predator up front, and the cerebral, graceful Dennis Bergkamp.
Football is a little bit at the end in the final third. You need like one guy who gives a great ball and one guy who finishes. He was the kind of quarterback of the team, you know, the guy who always gives the ball in the right space at the right moment, and the brain of a team.
I think Dennis was ahead of us, you know, with everything he did in his life and the way that he played his football. It must have been a joy for Wenger to have somebody of that quality, because that was what we were going to aspire to. It wasn't what we started with. And Dennis just slotted in.
He struck you when you saw him play straight away. There's something special with this guy. And even today, all the former players who played with him said he is the player, you know, the player that remains in your brain, that the player remains in your head, because he had something special.
Always make the right decision. When you're going forward, 3 decisions, what one do I make? Do I go A, B or C? He would always make the right decision.
He had a flexibility, almost like a ballet dancer, the way that he could go off from foot to foot. You know, his balance was amazing. And he had a simplicity of movement as well. If he wanted to receive the ball behind, he just a small movement towards the ball and he was away.
And Dennis Bergkamp will read your mind as well and say, he can only pass it in there, I'm going to have to drop off my defender and make sure I'm there for the ball. And so he had such a great understanding, not just for himself, but for the other players around him.
As 2003 drew to a close, formidable statistics accumulated without the blemish of a defeat.
Played 17, won 11, drawn 6, lost none.
Henry appeared to be playing a different game as he bewitched the Wolves' defence, before an away win at Southampton clinched by his countrymen.
Perez picks up a pass in the 18-yard box and slots it past the keeper.
As it goes on, you go on, and you're winning games, you're not losing. You didn't really think about going the whole season unbeaten. That didn't come into our minds. We just wanted to win.
We have a fantastic atmosphere in the dressing room. Everybody's friends, you know. Everybody supports each other. Doesn't matter if some players is on the bench or some players is playing. Everybody is supporting each other, you know. That's why this makes the team really strong.
Could literally have gone to war with that group of players. It could play pretty football, it could battle, it could fight, it could churn out any kind of result.
We all were at the top of our game, but we all spent, you know, another 5, 10, 15, 20 minutes after training practicing free kicks or shots or whatever, little kind of things in our game we need to kind of, yeah, it's going fine, but we just don't kind of lose sight and just kind of tick over and make sure everything's okay. So we never dropped off.
A new year brought more of the same from Arsenal. Pires and Henry tortured the Borough defence on the 10th of January to launch a 9-match winning streak. Thierry Henry scored 9 times in those 9 games. Better strikes than this are rarely seen in any season.
We knew, even when we were 1-0 down, Thierry Henry had not scored yet, but that will happen at some stage. So it is like a booster of the confidence of the team. Because at some stage we were even 2-0 down. Everybody looked at him, but what are you waiting for? You know, we expect you to do something now about it, and that's what happened most of the time.
Against Southampton at Highbury, Henry reached a notable milestone, scoring his 100th Premier League goal, and soon his 101st.
Henry's shot goes into the top right-hand corner. The Southampton keeper can only stand and watch. Ray Parlour.
We knew we had players who can change the game very quickly, so we never give up. We kept playing and hoping that chance will come along, and very often it did. And you know, we took the chances, but yeah, that was always important. You know, if you go goal down, character, showing character to get back into the game. But we had loads of that. We had loads of character in that dressing room.
They showed this at Chelsea, falling behind after 27 seconds, but fighting back to take all 3 points. The good results continued, as did Henry's personal goal of the season competition, including this contender against Blackburn. 3 successive home games followed, the first against Bolton, and for once Henry was denied. But Arsenal's goal was worth waiting for. Pires finishing off a superb move. With this result, the Gunners had gone 29 league matches unbeaten since the start of the season, equaling the feats of Leeds in the 70s and Liverpool in the 80s.
There were so many options in the final third, and you know, there was an urgency and a desire to win games and win them early. And any Arsenal fan that sat in his chair in those days at Highbury, he knew he came to watch some serious stuff.
Highbury was a great stadium. I mean, just walking out there before the game, you was in the tunnel, you were shoulder to shoulder with the other team. And they would look across and say, God, blimey, they've got Dennis Bergkamp and Thierry Henry, we're going to have a real one. We really looked like we was up for it as well a lot of the time in that tunnel. So a lot of games maybe have won in the tunnel.
Games against Manchester United would have to be won on the pitch. And recent encounters between the two had been fiery. Thierry Henry again provided the spark in this match. Louis Saha's late equaliser prevented victory, but the result meant the Gunners equalled Burnley's record of unbeaten games in a season, set in 1921. Liverpool were next to visit Highbury. Thierry Henry tore them apart with his first hat-trick of the season. The Frenchman warmed fans' hearts after Arsenal had been knocked out of the Champions League by Chelsea a few days earlier.
Just picked the ball up almost halfway line and just done an absolute amazing run. He got up to Carragher and kind of did him a couple of times in the box and slotted it home.
And I think that season, you know, he was coming to a time when he's so mature as a player. He's learned all the way through his career. You know, from '99 when he first signed for Arsenal, he had 5 years now. And now he's confident about his own ability, and he knew he could score every week.
A week later, Henry scored 4 as Arsenal demolished Leeds in one of the most comprehensive team performances ever seen in English football. It left them 10 points clear with 5 games remaining.
He had a spell where he was unplayable, because even in the training sessions, it was embarrassing for the defenders. He just scored when he wanted. And I told him sometimes, don't provoke too much the defenders, because these are proud boys and they get quite angry if you just score every time. So we had a spell was just unstoppable.
Whatever I was trying that day was coming off, so it's one of those nights. You don't want the ref to blow the whistle. You know, you want to play that game all your life. You know, it was a special night, yeah.
On April 25th, Chelsea's defeat at Newcastle ensured that in the North London derby, Arsenal needed only a draw to guarantee the club's 13th league title. Things went to plan as they gained a 2-0 lead after 35 minutes. Vieira put them ahead. And then Robert Pires exemplified the standards of Arsenal's season with a goal worthy of champions. Spurs scored 2 late goals to share the points, but they couldn't spoil Arsenal's title party.
At the very beginning, we had some warning to not obviously celebrate over there. But then when I saw them, when they scored, they came back 2-2. And I saw them, it seems like they won the World Cup final. And I think they didn't realize that we were actually winning the title at their ground.
They scored last minute to make it 2-2. And it was celebration time, really. I mean, we was over the moon. It was a great season. And to top it all off, winning at White Hart Lane was great for the fans. I mean, you know, I remember them staying behind for a good hour, and we were celebrating on the pitch.
You know, I was jumping up and down because, not because he was at Tottenham, but it's you know, you got a little bit of that, but I was respectful when I came out afterwards, but I was just over the moon that we've won the championship and won the Premiership, and I was just saying, wow, this is what it's all about, you know, because it was such a pressure game, and to win it there for the Arsenal fans, it's a dream.
And it was great to see, but we still had, you know, it was a weird situation because we wanted to go out and celebrate. We've done our bit now, we've won the league. We want to just go out and have a party for 2 weeks, but it was one of, we had to keep our focus because obviously the unbeaten season was still available. And that was the hardest 4 games we had to play because just to keep yourself focused, you know, we knew we was going to try and create a history we could by going unbeaten. So that was a really tough period.
Fittingly, the goals on the final day of the season against already relegated Leicester City were provided by Henry, who scored his 30th of the campaign from the penalty spot, and the captain Patrick Vieira. They capped one of the most remarkable achievements in football history.
I believe forever these boys will be remembered. When you take a little bit of distance, historical distance, it looks to be a huge achievement.
It was a big pleasure for me to be the captain of these players. We know how good we are as a team, and we just have to perform to show to everybody how strong we are. And of course, when you win games, that makes it easy, you know.
To be honest, I think everyone will always remember this Arsenal side because of the way we were playing as well. But I don't think they would have remembered it that much if we didn't win anything.
Arsenal's unbeaten league run lasted 49 games and into the following season before it was ended at Old Trafford. They would gain revenge in the cup final, giving Wenger the 4th FA Cup win of his reign, to go with 3 league titles. For many, though, his prime legacy will be the memories of this extraordinary season.
A fan's banner reads Champions 0304, P38 L0, Immortal. The end.